In July 1999, on the Griffith Air Force Base in New York, Michael Lang and John Scher wanted to bring back Woodstock that would remind people of 1969. Issues arose including expensive concessions, unsanitary conditions, and sexual assaults. During the last song, the crowd was given candles and started burning down the venue. When women began coming forward about being assaulted, they were ignored. Music festivals recently have become safer and women can feel more respected attending concerts. The Me Too movement came after Woodstock 99, which helped women deal with the trauma of being assaulted. Woodstock 69 was a free event set on a dairy farm. The crowd was a diverse group of young people who had been affected by the Vietnam War. The original Woodstock had a couple of issues, but it was overall a peaceful and happy festival that people fondly remember for the peaceful setting and iconic performances. Woodstock 69 was placed right in the middle of a time when peace and love were the main focal points. When Michael Lang, a promoter for the original Woodstock, tried to redo Woodstock in 1994, it poured rain. People breached the fences and got in for free, losing a lot of money for the event coordinators. When Woodstock 94 lost a lot of revenue, many people thought it would be the last Woodstock. When Michael Lang proposed the idea again in 1999, John Scher was hired as the new promoter. They focused on no one getting in for free after Woodstock 94. They chose to have it on the Griffith Air Force Base in Rome, New York. They added murals to cover up the ugly outer fencing. They originally had excellent ideas. However, 3 months before, they realized some of their ideas would have to be scrapped because they didn't have enough money. Eventually, they sold the food rights so the vendors could get the prices as high as they wanted, while still cutting the budget for safety and security for concert goers, including water, shade, fire, medical, and crowd control. They created a peace patrol of mostly volunteer young adults who were there only 3 days before the event and just needed to sign a form instead of real training. A record number of people started coming on the first day. Some people jumped the plywood fencing and got in for free. The ticket for Woodstock was $150, which was a good price for a 3-day concert. People expected water would be free, but water started at $4, or about $8 in 2024, eventually rising to $10 per bottle as the temperatures rose. They had not anticipated the number of people were attending. Therefore, the tents would be set up on top of one another. There was a small shower station of only 9 showers where men would frequently watch women shower or assault them. The Peace Patrol started walking off during the performances and went into crowds or sold their t-shirts so guests could get backstage. Korn played on the first night and you could quickly see how massive the crowd was, with mosh pits and waves of people. A lot of women felt disrespected by attendees, were being groped while crowd surfing, and were being assaulted. By the second day, the smell was disgusting. There was trash all over the ground. The porta potties were not cleaned out because the company that was supposed to clean them didn't show up. Downhill from the porta potty was a giant mud pit made of feces where people were cooling off. People were getting drunk quickly, taking illegal substances, not wearing clothes, suffering from uncontrolled heat stroke and dehydration. People were trying to find shade or protection, but it seemed the producers didn't care about the young people attending. Concertgoers started to get mad and throw things at the MTV producers and reporters. They realized they were being gouged for money and they began to rebel.
People are now throwing hats and other things.
Awesome. This right here is Woodstock 99 at its finest.
Limp Bizkit was set to play the final concert on the second day. Fred Durst, the singer for Limp Bizkit, started to ramp up the crowd. There was a mosh pit in which people were attacking each other. As he performed break stuff, the crowd started ripping the plywood from the MTV towers that were filming. Most people in the mosh pits were getting badly injured. They had glass bottles that had shattered on them, and concussions mixed with overwhelming dehydration. Medical staff couldn't get to the people in the mosh pits who were passed out or needed to be carried out on a stretcher. Durst was ultimately told to stop his set early.
Bizkit has gone off stage. Fred, have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
I can tell you, I've never done anything like that in my life.
How scary was it for you up there when they started ripping that place apart and they started taking the plywood off the towers and stuff?
Oh my God. Dude, it's not our fault. That's all I can say.
Later that night, in the rave tent during Fatboy Slim's performance, A random truck started going through the crowd and was being taken over and jumped on. They had to stop driving because it was a safety hazard. When staff went to see what had happened and move the truck, they saw an unconscious woman lying in the front seat who had just been assaulted. Many women were assaulted during these performances. Some women were crowd surfing when their clothes were forcibly ripped off them. A rehabilitation expert who attended the concert said that he saw many women that were being raped for no reason. The people around them would just cheer the assailants on. By then, MTV had been trying to find the craziest things to film. On the third day, Michael Lang gave a press conference and lied, saying that everything was perfect and he thought it was a successful Woodstock. Many people had gone home by the third day, but many stayed for the last scheduled act, Red Hot Chili Peppers. The Red Hot Chili Peppers played one of their last songs, Fire by Jimi Hendrix, a song played at the original Woodstock. Michael Lang got candles to give to the crowd as a vigil for Columbine. The angry, disillusioned, and insolvent concertgoers had enough and started to start small fires during the song. A massive fire had broken out during the back of the trash being burned. The fire department was called but simply refused to come. The crowd then lost control as they began to rush the stage and bring down the rigging around the stage. Many people compared it to the Lord of the Flies. It's like, what your image of hell would be. They started to move toward the vendors, singing and chanting. They raided the vendors and broke ATMs while the staff were evacuated to a building behind the stage. After they had been robbed, lied to, and encouraged by the bands, concertgoers had an uproar against MTV and the people who made the event. The morning after, people started calling Michael Lang's office and the police department. Parents saw that their daughters had been assaulted. Sharon Lang denied that these assaults were happening in the crowd because they thought it was too dense and crowded. 44 people were arrested, 60 people were hospitalized, and 3 people died due to heat stroke. The attendees have mixed feelings about how it went, with some saying they would never do it again and some saying that it was a fond memory. John Scher would continue to blame Limp Bizkit for the out-of-control crowd instead of his decisions. The organizers knew what kind of bands and music were planned for the event, but they did not provide any security for it. Scher claims with the number of people in the crowd he couldn't see anyone being assaulted or hurt. The most absurd was John Scher's claims about the sexual assault allegations. He claimed, "There were a lot of women that had voluntarily taken their tops off. They got in a mosh pit and crowd surfed. Could someone have touched their breast? Yes, I'm sure of it. But what could have I done about it?" They claimed that no woman had reported being sexually assaulted during the concert to a police officer. When Michael Lang finally commented, he felt bad for the way that people were treated and wished he could have made it better. After Woodstock 99, later concerts were made safer. The Coachella recently is nothing like Woodstock. Free water, good bathrooms, and most importantly, a safe environment. A concert recently comparable to Woodstock was Astroworld in 2021 and the mass shooting in Vegas in 2017 that killed 60 people. Both had more than adequate security even when tragedy struck. Both promoters and locations that hold events can now be sued or face serious consequences if something like this were to happen again. Women wanted to find a place to talk about their experience of being assaulted. The Me Too movement, created by Alyssa Milano with a single tweet, is a movement that helps women speak up about their sexual abuse and harassment. A decade earlier was Tarana Burke, who first started Just Be Inc., with hopes of helping women who have dealt with sexual harassment. The Me Too movement has helped women feel more confident and connect with others who have gone through a similar experience. With more study and research, people are starting to find more effects that rape and sexual assault can do to people. Now, women can go to concerts alone and connect with people around them safely. In conclusion, Woodstock 99 was an event that had good intentions, but was turned into a violent and unsafe festival that scared many women and left many attendees scarred. The rights of the attendees were ignored to profit the organizers and corporations involved. Many women were assaulted and harassed while they were just trying to have a good time. It was the responsibility of the event coordinators to provide a safe and fun experience to the attendees. Some people look back as a fond memory of their past, but it paved the way for women to feel more respected in public spaces such as concerts. Sexual assault is now a much more prioritized crime than before Woodstock 99.